Delegate Shalega's coming in. Delegate Shalega's coming in. Good morning, Delegate Shalega. Delegate Shalega's coming in.
It's not live yet.
It's working on it.
Good morning.
Morning, Delegate Shalega.
It looks like it's live because we hear the feedback from the
Delegate
YouTube channel.
Shalega's coming in.
Yeah,
Somebody-
somebody's got it. Somebody's got the YouTube on it and they need to turn it off.
Go ahead. It's live now. Delegate Riley. Wait. Where'd Delegate Riley go? Bear with us. We're having some technical difficulties.
I'm back. Okay, we are live. Just to mention that this meeting is recorded live and folks are watching on the MGA website. Welcome to our delegation, Harford County delegation meeting. I will open us up in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for keeping us safe and sound during this weather and during our travels. And continue to watch over us as we conduct business for the citizens of Maryland. And continue to watch over us. Amen. Okay, and then I'm going to ask Delegate Blair, could you do the pledge for us, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, call the meeting to order. Real quick, some information on the Aegis article. Everyone should have received the email showing your date. If there's a conflict and that date does not work for you to submit your article for that week, if you would please work that out with another delegate or senator, we would certainly appreciate that. And let the delegation secretary know your dates if you've changed. The next thing order would be the scholar reception. We do have a tentative date with the Harford Community College of May the 10th. That is a Tuesday, but it's still tentative until it's confirmed with all groups of the college. But right now they think that's going to work. And then the other thing that we sent out in your agenda was the ECM letter from Chairman C.T. Wilson. So again, we tried to do the liquor bills as soon as possible. So if anyone has liquor bills out there, please submit those and hopefully you can have them by Tuesday so we can do the agenda so that they will be on next week's agenda. And also so that we can get the letters to our commissioners from the Liquor Control Board. So that kind of is wrapped up for the business that we talked about last week and get you up to date. And now we will move on to our new business. We do, oh, I'm sorry, we do have to do the, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Delegate McComas first. Do I have a second? Second for approval of minutes?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Delegate Lasanti, second. All righty, and does anyone oppose the minutes? If so, raise your hand if you oppose. Okay, looks like it was, they were approved unanimous. Cindy, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And then we will move on to the new business. New business, we're going to take up the LR 1427, and that's the Harford County Alcohol Beverages Stadiums License Annual Fee. We're going to have the sponsor of the bill, which is Delegate Johnson, to speak on it first. He does have a panel with us here today. So following Delegate Johnson, if we could have the general manager, I believe his name is Jack Graham. I think he's with us today. Then he could speak, and then we will open it up to questions for the delegates and senators. Okay, Delegate Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you to the panelists that came today. I have a bill here that takes the Ripken Stadium liquor fee from $10,000 down to $4,000. If you all look, I sent an information sheet that shows what the stadiums around the state pay. Ripken Stadium is paying almost 5 times the amount of any other stadium their size around the state, and paying almost as much as the Baltimore Orioles and Ravens Stadium, which pay $12,000 fee. But those stadiums have a capacity of 71,000 in the M&T Bank Stadium, and the Camden Yards is almost 46,000. Ripken Stadium has 5,800 seats. Now, in most counties, their liquor boards operate in their county government. It is a county function, a government function. Our liquor board in Harford County is forced to operate in a silo, surviving strictly on fees and fines. We've talked about this before, and it is a problem for our businesses. I've approached the county several occasions to ask if they had space, if they could provide space for our liquor board to alleviate them from their lease, what they have to pay in a lease every month. And I've also asked if they could pick up the insurance for their 2 employees. And to date, they have declined to do either. That's not really fair for the liquor board. It's not their fault. They're just trying to work within the funds that they can raise, but that's really not in the best interest of our businesses either. So my request is to lower the Ripken Stadium fee to $4,000, which is still almost double what every other stadium their size in the state is paying. I don't think that's fair, but it is a compromise. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Jack, my panelist.
Thank you, Delegate. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you considering our liquor license fee and its relation to the other stadiums, specifically our Major League affiliate, the Baltimore Orioles, who it did come to my attention about a year ago that we were paying nearly as much as the Orioles. And I was really just hoping that the delegation would consider, I guess, right-sizing our fee, which we've been paying since 2002 when we first opened.
Thank you, Delegate Johnson and Mr. Graham. We also do, you've received in your packet the letters from our liquor control commissioners. And we do actually have one of the commissioners here, the Vice President, Paul Medusky. We have a letter of opposition on this particular bill. Mr. Medusky, would you like to have any comments?
Sure. So yes, the liquor board does not support this increase or decrease in fee. I think Delegate Johnson alluded to it a little bit. We do survive off of these fees. We have not had a fee increase in 20 years and are, quite frankly, struggling to keep a balanced budget due to that. when you compare the Baltimore Orioles, you're not comparing apples to apples, as the city funds their liquor board. We are not a government funded board. Secondly, in 2002, this was a fee that was suggested by and agreed upon by the stadium. They were the ones that came up with the $10,000 fee, and were the ones that felt that that was a fair fee for the liquor board 20 years ago.
Thank you, Mr. Medusky. Okay, we will open it up to questions. I see Delegate McComas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask the folks that have been on the liquor board in the past, Delegate Lasante, as well as current Delegate Impalaria. Obviously, if we pursue this, that it be reduced, obviously the liquor board is going to come in and oppose it. And usually it's been my experience when you've got disagreement on a delegation bill between an agency that is affected and the delegation, it's kind of a waste of time. So I just wonder if that's the case. I mean, it's obviously unfair, and it puts the liquor board in a vice, because they need funds to be able to work. And I don't understand why the county can't help them a little bit. I mean, it is, I mean, they initially agreed to it, but like all things, times change. So I just wonder what can be done, because I mean, I think it's an impasse at this point.
Okay, thank you, Delegate McComas. Delegate Griffith.
Thank you. And the connection is not stable here in the office for whatever reason, so I might break up a little bit. Yes, hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, so my concern with the situation is, again, the disproportionality between Ripken Stadium and other stadiums. And I certainly understand the point that the liquor board survives off fines and fees, right? But that does not justify unfairness, right? And if the fees that are being charged to Ripken Stadium are unfair, that's not justification for me to charge them more than their counterparts across the state. And so I guess my question to either Paul or Jack or Delegate Johnson is, how do you feel about the relative fairness, and should, in this case, Ripken Stadium, have to be unfairly burdened to fund the Harford County Liquor Board?
Mr. Majewski, do you want to address that
Yeah,
first?
I just want to reiterate that when you're looking at the other stadiums and you talk about Orioles Stadium or Ravens Stadium, you're not comparing apples to apples. It's two very different things. You're talking, again, the liquor board in the city is government funded. We are not. So you are not comparing apples to apples.
Madam Chair.
No, but my question is, I'm sorry, I'm breaking up really bad, so I can barely hear. I understand that, but should the burden of funding the liquor board fall disproportionately to our private businesses, even though Baltimore City may be government funded and we're not, right? That still doesn't take away fairness.
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yeah. Yes, Delegate Johnson.
Well, let's compare apples to apples. Wacomico County Stadium, 5,200 patrons, $2,000 fee. Prince George's County Stadium, 10,000 patrons, $2,420 fee. Charles County, capacity 4,200, fees $2,200. Let's compare apples to apples. And let's don't forget that when Ripken Stadium opened, they also did all the events. That's been taken away from them. They had a whole season with COVID that they were down. So I think it's time to look at and take care of our businesses and put them more in alignment with the rest of the state. Again, $4,000 is almost double what all the other stadiums their size is paying. But I do think that that's a compromise. And I do regret that our liquor board has to try to survive on fines and fees. But I do not think that that's the best course of action for our businesses. And I will continue to work with the county to see if we can't get them some relief with some space they can operate out of or some help with their insurance. So I understand their issues, but I don't think that that should be just passed on to the businesses because we have that issue, because we're forcing them to operate in a silo in this county.
Thank you, Delegate Johnson. We're going to move on to Delegate Lasanti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of issues here. Being very familiar with the history of Ripken Stadium and how the various liquor bills, most of which I've sponsored over the years, have progressed to give them more access to expanded availability for liquor licenses. What I see with this bill is competing interests. One is that of the liquor board, obviously, to protect the sustainability of the Liquor Control Board. And the second is with Ripken Stadium and a fair and equal fee schedule. I don't have the actual fee schedule in front of me. So I guess my question is for the representative from the Liquor Board, what is the standard fee for other recreational type uses? And the one that comes to mind to me is Harford Community College at the arena.
I don't have that fee schedule in front of me, so I don't want to speak on that.
Okay. But a lot of our, would it be fair to say that a lot of our, that our fees are equivalent to the type of use they are, whether it's a large restaurant? We know a large restaurant pays the same fee as a small family-owned restaurant. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct because it's based off of the license.
The type of license, absolutely. Well, I understand that, right. But you could conceivably have operators that have a much higher income potential than others that have a lower income potential, potentially paying the same amount.
Correct, but also the type of license.
I understand the licenses, but I'm saying that the size.
Yeah, but there's different workloads also between the different licenses as well.
Okay, well, I'd appreciate if you would get back to us on recreational type uses, what fees are being paid by other recreational type uses, because clearly Ripken Stadium is a very specific type of use, and it has a very the scale of their license is different than most, I think, in the county. So if you could get back to us on that, I'd appreciate it.
I can.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Delegate Lasanti. We have to move on. We're almost 20 minutes on this one. So I'll go to Delegate Griffith quickly.
And sorry about my connection being awful in the Maryland General Assembly booth, so I switched my phone. No, Paul, I would like to get together on this and discuss a little bit more. At face value, this certainly feels like there's some opportunity here. I understand the liabilities and your constraints. I understand the situation, and you're not wrong. But I also want to consider fairness too, especially related to a situation really outside of Ripken Baseball's control. I mean, it's not their fault that you're self-funded and Baltimore City is government funded in these things. So I would like to continue this conversation if that's acceptable.
Oh, certainly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Delegate Impalaria, and then we'll go to Mr. Graham.
Well, it sounds like an issue that's going to keep coming up. I don't know whether it's a fair or unfair structure for Ripken, But as Delegate Lasani alluded to, it's an unfair system across the board. Delegate Raleigh, you have a small liquor store right up there by Delta in Maryland, and they pay the exact same liquor fee as a major liquor store in Bel Air. They sell as much liquor in 2 months as Bel Air sells in 1 day, but nobody seems to care about that fairness. And as you know, I've put legislation in the past to try to fix the system that should work for the liquor board. And if the liquor board was doing their job, they would take that piece of legislation that I created, they would go back and see if they can work it and bring it back to us that it will suit their needs. Because I just don't think it's fair that a small business in Joppatown pays the same as some big corporate entity in Bel Air, and the volume that they're doing is a lot more. It's got to take a lot more work to deal with that larger volume business than that smaller volume business. So there is legislation that we have put forward before to fix this problem. It would fix Ripken's problem. It would fix everybody's problem, not just Ripken. Every licensee, they would fix it. Now, the guy in Bel Air who's going to pay a little bit more is going to say it's unfair. And the guy in Joppa or up in Darlington is going to say, well, it is fair. So I think that's what we need to do. Why just fix one part of a major problem when we can fix everything right now? And we have time this year to do it. And that's all I have
All
to say.
right, thank you, Delegate Palaria. And now our last comment on this particular bill will be from Mr. Graham.
Thank you, everyone, and I appreciate the thoughtful consideration and debate on this topic. And certainly, I don't want this to be adversarial between the Ironbirds and the Liquor Control Board. I believe we've had a very strong relationship in the past, and really, it's for us a matter of just trying to right size the fee to our business type. And certainly, our county is different than other counties. So I just hope that this is something that we can come to some fairness on, and I appreciate everyone's consideration. And I'll just mention that, in 2002, when we were a brand new minor league baseball team started by Cal Ripken Jr. in his hometown, we were selling 220, 230, 250,000 tickets a year. And subsequently, since that novelty has sort of waned, and we've been selling 100, 115, 125,000 tickets a year, our opportunity for liquor sales has decreased, and obviously we would love to increase those as we become a full season team, but today is very different than the day when we opened. But I appreciate everyone's consideration on this topic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. We do have to move on to our second bill. Also, the sponsor of is Delegate Johnson. Delegate Johnson, LR 2072. Please explain.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This bill is right now, it was written that the Ripken Stadium could only sell drinks in paper, plastic, or styrofoam containers. Again, if you look at most of the stadiums in Maryland, their language says by the drink or by the bottle. And I would just like to make the language for the Ripken Stadium consistent with most of the stadiums around the state. And actually, the other two stadiums that say by plastic, paper, or styrofoam, they are looking to possibly amend onto this bill. So they're working on it as well to make it consistent across the state. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. And I'm assuming that Mr. Graham, you support this bill?
Yes, I appreciate the consideration. We had not been aware for 19 seasons that we were not permitted to sell aluminum cans of beer. It came to our attention from the Liquor Control Board over the years of leadership changing at Ripken Stadium. It was that information was lost to us, and so much like Camden Yards or M&T Bank Stadium or Purdue Stadium in Wycomico County or others, we would like to be able to legally serve beer from aluminum cans, as most beers are served in most sports stadiums across the country and in Maryland.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a letter from the commissioners from the Liquor Control Board. And Mr. Meduski, I see that you're in favorable of this bill. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, we are in favor of this bill, and I think it's common sense legislation.
Okay, great. Sounds good. All right. Delegate Johnson, do you have, I'm sorry. We have some questions. Delegate Lasanti.
I just have to react to that comment that the Ripken Stadium didn't know about that specification. That particular requirement was a compromise at the time to expand the sale of alcohol at Ripken Stadium, and it was done at the request of Ripken Stadium. So I don't know how in management that never got transferred, because executive leadership of the stadium was a part of that bill. I'm sure Delegate Impalaria remembers that. So I mean, it was a compromise at the time to expand your license, and it was my bill. I remember it. So I'm definitely in favor of it. But I think it's important when anybody comes to the legislature to change their to expand their licenses, that they're well aware of what they're asking for.
I
Thank you,
appreciate that.
Delegate Lasante. Do we have any other questions, discussion? Okay, it looks like on this particular bill, we can probably most likely vote on this one next week. So we look forward to having that on the agenda next week. The one prior, it looks like we need a little bit more work on that one and maybe some compromises made. So we probably will not have that one ready for a vote. So now, thank you, Delegate Johnson, on both of those bills. And our folks from the Liquor Control Board, Paul, and from Ron Bird's, Mr. Graham, thank you for attending today. Now we're going to move on to Delegate Impalaria has two bills on the agenda today. First one will be LR 924. And again, for the public, all four of these bills that we're discussing today are LRs. As delegation chair, we cannot send the bills out. You would have to request those bills from the bill sponsor at this time. Once they are dropped to become a bill number, then we can forward that out. So please take that into consideration. So Delegate Impalaria. Oh, we got to unmute you, please.
All right, so unfortunately, I left the bills on my table. So tell me which the first LR is.
Okay, the first one is 924. This is looks like the members
of the school board. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so as you know, we had a meeting to meet with the public about the school board. And so this bill is based on exactly the requests that were made by the public and even by some of the school board members of how we could improve it. So the only reason I'm presenting this bill today is it's a very complicated bill, and it'll give everybody an opportunity so that we can have another hearing and discuss it properly. It's a serious subject that shouldn't just be thrown up, like wallpaper. It's something that we should look at. So, and what it does, it basically to break the tie, and that's always been a problem, is a tie, is that the county executive would be allowed to appoint one member of the school board. That member would only be allowed to vote in the case of a tie or on any issue that the student member could vote on. So, basically the county executive wouldn't have that person there to, control what's going on unless there was a circumstance where there was a tie. So everyone should get a chance to read over it. There's other points in there that the public wanted, and then we can discuss that again later. And that's all I really have to say about the bill right now.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Impalaria. Let me just, as I was reading through, so what this does, currently we have 6 in district and 3 appointed. So this takes down to still our 6 in district elected, and then 1 appointment appointed by the county executive.
Right.
Now, is that confirmed by the council?
No.
Okay, not confirmed. Okay, and that 1 appointed member is only votes during a tiebreaker. So,
well, they only vote during a tiebreaker, but they can also vote on anything that the student member can vote
okay.
on.
Gotcha.
So I don't want somebody sitting there and doing nothing, and maybe never doing nothing.
Right.
I want them to have somewhat of an active role, but not a controlling role.
Okay, all righty, thank you. All righty, we will open this up. Do we have any discussion on this bill as of right now? Okay, I see Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so Delegate Impalaria, so I have a bill that I'm just waiting to get the blue back on that I've been working on for a while. I've discussed with some other members about the bill. Very similar. What my bill does, it removes the 3 members appointed by the governor, replaces it by 1 member appointed by the county executive and confirmed by the county council, the same way confirmations are now with requiring 5 votes. It's a full voting member but it does bring in local control back to the school board. Additionally, what this bill does, because I don't want to do anything to disrupt the current process that's in place, this will allow the 3 remaining members that are appointed by the governor to sunset. So those 3 members will be able to fulfill the term as the law is stated right now, because I don't want to take away their opportunity to fulfill their lawful term. And then July of next year, June 30th, their terms will expire. July 1st, the appointed member would take over, and that would kind of reshape the school board in that way. And so I think there's some fairness there and some opportunity to if we're going to have an appointed member, if we're going to have that 7th member, it should be a full voting member, in my opinion. But again, appointed locally by the county executive, confirmed by the county council with a supermajority. So
thank you, Delegate Griffith. We will have further discussion once we get that.
Well, but in response
bill.
real quick, that's the whole thing, Delegate Griffin, is there'll probably be more than your bill and more than my bill. We need to take the best of every single bill and put it in. Your comment about the that appointed member having full voting rights, that was the big problem that the people at the meeting didn't want to see that happen. So, that was one of the things that they felt was important to put in there. I mean, you may feel that they should have full voting rights, but the public at the meeting felt that they shouldn't if they were appointed. They shouldn't have the same powers as those that were elected. So I think, and I believe mine's an emergency piece of legislation, means it will take place in this election. So, we have to pull up what's the best for everybody, and we all have to work together on a good bill. So there's no final solution at this moment.
Okay, Delegate Empler, what meeting are you talking about? That
when we had the meeting at the library.
the one that
Yes.
in Harford County?
Yes. And we had school board members there, and we had the public there. And that was where that suggestion came up, that the county executive should make the appointment for the 1 member, but that 1 member should only be able to vote. I'm sure there was others there that remember that on a tiebreaker.
Right.
So,
I'll have to go back that as far as my understanding, when we had that meeting, the board members, they like the current way that it is done with the 3 appointed and,
They
by the
did,
governor.
but it's one of them things. Do you like the way it is right now? Yes, I do. What if we change this? Well, it'd be okay if you change this, or it'd be okay if you change that, but we like it the way it is right now. So there was 2 different stories. There were things that came up that they liked. So, and I think
Right, we'll have to, we'll probably reach out to them, once we get all the bills to, get their input to see, and again, we can, take their input or not take it, and we can, vote the way we feel that we need to vote for our citizens. But we will get that information to them as well once we get all the bills. So hopefully, Delegate Griffith, you'll get yours, and we can have that one for discussion next week as well. Okay, do we have any other questions on that particular bill from Delegate Impleria? Okay, so that discussion will continue throughout the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. So thank you, Delegate Impleria. Now we're on the LR 967, which deals with the superintendent.
Yes, it would be an elected superintendent. And like I've said from the beginning, that we elect our county executive, we elect our clerk of the court, we elect our sheriff. There's no reason why the public isn't smart enough to pick who they want to be the superintendent of schools. By electing them, we'll know what they get paid ahead of time. We'll know what they stand for. And simply, and this is a bill that complicated. We have the same bill in for Baltimore County schools, working with bill drafting. There were some things we wanted in the bill that they said we couldn't put in the bill. There were some things that were added to the bill, but really right now we have the head of our public school system in Harford County. If he was standing for election this year, raise your hands if you believe he would be reelected to that position. I don't see any hands up. So, okay. So that's the whole point. The superintendent of the public schools has control of our most valuable asset, and that's our children. We should have a say in who that person is, and we should know what they stand for before they ever take the position. So the bill has qualifications drawn into it. So once again, I'm bringing this bill to you now, so you have an opportunity to look the bill over prior to having a full hearing on it. So I just think it's a way that we should go. Would they reject it? They may, because they like having control of our children. I'm sick and tired of the indoctrination of our children. We should have a say who is setting the curriculum, and a person who's responsible to the voter, to the parent, and to the student. We don't have that right now. We have a superintendent who's responsible to the state system, and that's it. I could care less what we think.
Thank you, Delegate Blair. I see some questions. We have Delegate Arcon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Delegate, for bringing this bill forward. What does your bill address a recall process? Let's say that we elect somebody and it turns out they are a disaster. What does the
Yes.
recall process look like?
Yeah, it's in there. I don't have the bill in front of me. I wanted everybody to get a chance to look at it, but yes, there's a recall process in it.
Okay, and is it like, do we have to revote? Is it something complicated or?
No, I
or-
believe I'm trying to recall it off the top of my head. I believe in the recall, the person has to, it has to be the, you know what, I'm not going to answer because I don't know exactly the wording in the bill and I don't want to misread it. And that's why I brought the bill. I only got the bill a day ago. I only got it over to bill drafting because of the circumstances that we're in right now with COVID. And I wanted to get the bill. This is the best way to get the bill to you all, because as I can see, you're not here in Annapolis, and you know, many of us are not here. You know, I'm here today, but many of us aren't. So this is a better way. Everyone's got it right now. Let's look it over. Let's figure it out. Let's see what you like and don't like, and let's see if we can do something good for the students. So yeah, there is a recall, but the actual nuts and bolts of it, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to misspeak.
Okay, thanks. I'll read it and see what it says.
Okay.
Thank you. Delegate Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just food for thought and things we can discuss as we move through this process. My biggest concern with a elected superintendent is it would make that position the highest, because right around superintendent makes like $217 a year. It would make that position the highest paid elected official in Harford County, which would then draw a lot of money into the race. And right now, the reason I'm trying to address some issues with the school boards, because at the end of the day, the superintendent does answer to the Board of Education. That's a check and balance by the people, which is why, we want to address that structure, and you and I both are aligned in that. But my concern is if we have an elected superintendent that makes $217,000 a year, the amount of outside money that could come in to only have to win one race that's highly paid to control Harford County Public Schools versus where it is now, 6 small races that pay $300 a month. That's basically a volunteer position. My concern is, I feel if monitored properly, the Board of Education would be a better check and balance on the process than having an elected superintendent. This is my 2 cents, and just something to think about as we move forward in the process.
Well, just a quick response is, first off, the bill doesn't call out what the salary would be. It calls out how the salary would be created. So that would be up to others. That wouldn't be up to us what the salary of the school superintendent would be. So, and no, not necessarily, it may not be 270,000. It could be what they decide it should be, but we would know what that is prior to the election, prior to the people running. And then once that's it, it's set. They can't change it. 4-year term, the next 4 years, that would be their salary. They're not getting any more, any less. And secondly, I personally don't believe that the school board has the control and its current system, even if we change it, because Dr. Bolson really doesn't care what the school board says. And he has proved that, and the school board really doesn't care what the public has to say. So that's why I think it's an important bill, and we'll discuss it. We'll see what happens with it. We're in Maryland. It's going to be a difficult row to hoe.
Okay, and thank you, Delegate Griffith and Delegate Blair. We have Delegate Lasanti. The next question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, and I look forward to reading the whole context of the bill. But is there a residency requirement for a candidate before in your bill before they would file? And the reason I ask that is because of the very sizable salary. One might think without a residency requirement that it could draw people from internationally, obviously. I mean,
Right.
anyway.
And so, yes, there is a residency requirement that after a certain period of time, they have to live in the county. And the reason.
So
I would
after
yeah,
election.
Yeah, after election. And the reason is from the discussions with people, they did not want it limited because, we held meetings on it. They didn't want it limited that like,
Right.
There's a really great guy who lives in Virginia. He's a retired base commander, and he could come up and run this school because he's run educational systems for the military, and he's retiring to Harford County, thinks of moving here. So we don't want to eliminate people like that. And that's why there is a requirement, and the requirement is once you're elected, you're going to have to live here.
Is there also requirements for education and other
Yes, yes, there is.
qualifiers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And they're a little more broad than the current, because right now, to be a superintendent, you have to be a card carrying member of the cabal. If you're not a member of the cabal, you're not going to be allowed to be a superintendent. So you had to be bought and paid for ahead of time. This opens it up. The hospital systems, many of the hospital systems are run by people who are not doctors. People say only a hospital system should be run by doctors. Well, a lot of times they're not. And that's the same principle with this. Maybe a school system may be better served by being run by a CEO with certain experiences, with somebody with military experiences. So it does open it up.
I look forward to seeing the text of the bill. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, and Delegate Griffith has another bite at the apple.
Sorry, just one point of clarification. So in your bill, you don't have to be a Harford County resident to run for the position?
No, and the reason for that was what was requested by the public. The public said if someone is super qualified and is willing to run, and once they win, they have to move into the county, then, that's what they do. But that's what the public asked for. So I would have said, no, you just have to be a Harford County resident. But I do realize that there's people who are retiring from high paid jobs that may want to move to a beautiful county like Harford County and see this as an opportunity to give back to the public and move to Harford County and end up running for this office.
So what you're saying is under this bill, I'm not trying to, go on the offensive on this bill, but anybody from anywhere in the country with no affiliation to Harford County could run for this office, say whatever they feel their beliefs are on mailers, and then potentially get elected.
Yes, and I think the citizens of Harford County are smart enough to know who is running. And you're smirking right now, that they are smart enough to know who is running. And the candidates that are also running are smart enough to expose whatever they feel that the public should know about the candidates that are running. I mean, personally, I think if we had a candidate said, I'm going to close down all the vocational training schools and not have them anymore, that candidate would lose. But if you had another candidate come in and say, I'm going to build 3 new vocational training schools or figure out how to put them in existing schools, that candidate would win. I think it's about time the public gets what they want rather than the indoctrinators getting what they want.
Okay, thank you. I saw Delegate Johnson. Are you good? Or do you still have a question?
My question was answered. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions or discussion on the LR? Okay, I'm certain we will continue this discussion. Thank you, Delegate Impalario, for bringing that to our attention. We will bring that one probably up in the next couple of weeks. We'll see that one again. So please, delegates, senators, everyone, read the context of all of our LRs, and we'll take them up in the near future. Okay, that takes care of all of our bills that we have for discussion today. Now we move on to the last item on the agenda, and that's the election of the chair and the vice chair. So at this time, I'm going to open it up for any appointments or, okay.
For the vice chair?
Delegate, this is chair first and then vice chair. So Delegate Mike Griffith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I would like to nominate Delegate Teresa Rowley for chair.
Thank you, Delegate Griffith. I would accept that. But I do need a second. Delegate Shalega?
I would like to second Delegate Riley for chairman, and I want to thank you for all your hard work. You've just done an excellent job over the years.
Thank you, Delegate Shalega. I appreciate that. Delegate Lasanti?
Just a quick point of order. Don't we do vice chair first?
We've all, in the past, I thought we've done chair. And
I
then
know we've done it the
vice
other way
chair.
first. I mean, I'm fine, but
Doesn't matter.
it's just not usual. Usually you do the lower office first and then, so.
Well, we can, I'm good. We can table it and then come back, but
Carry on.
carry on. All right, we're good. All righty, so we do have a first and a second and a motion for myself, Delegate Riley, to be chair for one more year, this session. So I guess, Cindy, can you take a roll call, please? Oh, hold on one second. Before we do that, Delegate McComas, unmute.
Yes, I just moved to close the nominations.
Okay.
That probably needs to happen.
Okay, thank you. Cindy?
Are you ready to take the vote?
Yes, please.
Okay. Delegate McComas,
Oh, yes,
Delegate Erican,
Yes.
Delegate Griffith,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
Yes.
Delegate Johnson,
Yes.
Delegate Lasanti,
Yes.
Delegate Shalega,
Yes.
Delegate Riley.
Yes,
The motion passes.
thank you, everyone, for your vote of confidence, and I hope to continue to serve you all well and do an awesome job. I would like to make this announcement, though, that I said that I would. This will probably be my last year as chair. It has been a wonderful, great run, and I look forward to, next year, hopefully, all of us get reelected, and I kind of want to pass on the torch to give some of our younger folks some opportunity. So thank you again, and I hope to serve you well. Now we're going to have the nomination of the vice chair. Do I have a first?
I'd like to nominate Delegate McComas, and she's done a great job. So that's my nomination.
Okay, thank you. And I have the privilege to actually seconding that nomination. She has been a wonderful vice chair. Thank you, Delegate McComas, for all of your efforts over the years. And she's one of our senior members. So thank you. And she's, been in this position, and I thank her for all of her work. And I do second that motion. So I guess we need someone to close the nomination.
I'm
I'll
going to
close
close
it.
the nomination.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Griffith. And if we would have Cindy to take a roll call vote on that. For
Delegate McComas? You're muted.
yeah. Yes, I support myself.
Good. Delegate Erican,
Yes.
Delegate Griffith,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
Yes.
Delegate Johnson,
Yes.
Delegate Lasanti,
Yes.
Delegate Shalega,
Yes.
Delegate Riley.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Delegate McComas, would you like to say anything?
Just thank you all, and hopefully we have a good year. And I know we're going to have a lot of challenges, virtual and non-virtual, but we will soldier on.
Amen. Okay, thank you. Now I need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Delegate Johnson. And McComas, second. Thank you, everyone. See you next week. And remember, if you have bills that you want on the agenda for next week, please get them to us Monday, Tuesday. Thank you, everyone.